Hello, my name is Joe the Donk, and today I'm playing 1-3-50 at Delago. Yes, you heard me right. We're playing $1, $3, and $50. There's a blind race to $50 every hand, and yes, the action is crazy. My goal is to make $50 per hour playing 1-3, and I'm documenting my entire trip via this vlog. This is our third episode. You can see my results up here on the left. Spoiler alert, today's action is completely crazy. I once opened Ace King to $350, yes, 120 big blind open. This is by far the craziest game I've ever played, crazy session. Chips passing around like biscuits. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive into today's crazy action. There is an armored rugby game, American football game going on, so there's only one table tonight. There's a bunch of regulars and pros at the table, so instead of buying table max, I buy in for 500, only covering the recreational players. The shallower the stacks, the less skill edge those pros against me. We are early tonight and the 1-3-50 game has not started yet. First playable hand, we pick up Queen Jack offsuit in the cutoff. The two limpers, I make it 20 to go. Button calls 20 and both limpers call. Flop is Jack 6 deuce with 2 hearts. Action checks to me. Usually I would check my entire range here as a default, but since we have only one player behind us and Button is an old gentleman who is quite passive, so I don't think he is overstepping in this spot. So I just bet out with my thick value hand in this exact type of situation. Note, if there are 2 or more players behind me, I'm always checking my entire range. Anyways, I bet 40, 2 players fold, the low jack moves all in for 140, I'm happily to make the call. I call, turn is a 10 and river is a 4 and we win against Jack 8 of clubs. Next hand, we pick up a premium, my third favorite hand in Texas Hold'em, third best hand ever created by the poker gods, Queen of suit. There's an underdone straddle to $6. We are next to act and we make it 20 to go. Cutoff 3 bets to 65. Fold back to us. Cutoff is a professional poker player and he knows that I'm tight. There's a recreational player in the blind, so I would think he should be playing almost all of his range as a call to let the recreational player in. I'm opening first position, so he knows that I have a very tight range here, top 9% or 10% of hands. And he should know that I would not make massive mistakes both pre-flop and post-flop. Hence, he should be free betting me with a very polar range, which means aces, kings, ace king suited, and trash hands like ace 5 suited, king 9 suited, 7 8 suited, etc. Against this range, I like to play a call to keep his entire range in. This is also the reason why I don't tend to cover the pros, as we are right now only around 200 big blinds deep, meaning we can stack off with queens comfortably on a lot of boards without making too many tough decisions, where pros will definitely make you do. Anyways, I call and we take a flop. Flop is the beautiful Queen 10-4 with 2 clubs. We flop the nuts. My heart is pumping. We check and unfortunately he checks back. I would imagine he's betting small with his entire range, so when he checks back, he actually confuses me. I think we can rule out aces, kings, ace, queen in his range at this point. His range is mostly complete air like 6-7 suited that's giving up, or some showdown value type of hand like ace, king, 9-10 suited, or JJ Barea, although I think it would be a mistake to free bet with JJ Barea in his spot. But anyways, we take a turn. Turns the beautiful king of spades. We do lose to kings and ace-jack suited, but he should be betting those hands at a very high frequency on the flop. Overall, this is a very good card for his range. So if he has ace-king, he's going to bet. If he has air, he's going to use this king to his advantage. So I check again, and indeed he bets $90. Against recreational players, I would always make a big boy check raise here. I mean, I would probably lead out here versus a recreational, as recreational players are generally underbluffing and not betting thinly enough for value. But against a pro, he will bet thinly enough for value on the river or bluff the river with air. So I just make a flat call, looking for a clean river and evaluate. River is a complete brick, which is the deuce of diamonds. Again, against recreational players who underbluff and do not bet thinly enough, if I arrive the river like this, I'm always leading out. But my opponent is a pro. He has enough bluffs. Well, I mean, he should. And he bets thinly enough for value. So don't lead out, please. Just play your range as a check. But I know, I'm a donk. I don't know. I would never lead out versus a pro. So I check for the third time. Unfortunately, he checks back and announces that he has a 10. We show and we win. Unfortunately, my opponent just had a showdown value type of hand that they don't need to bluff with, and is too thin for value. A little bit of sad face. This next hand shows why I am generally not leading out the river in spots similar to the last hand. We pick up 40% of a royal flush queen jack of clubs under the gun +1. There is a button strata to $6, big blind calls to 6, I make it 25 to go. This time another pro on the button 3 bets me to 65. Folds back to me. Against this sizing that is smaller than 3x, I'm happy to make the call, see a flop, and proceed with caution. Flop is Jack 9-3 with 1 club, rainbow flop. So we flop top pair, good kicker in a 3-bet pot. We do lose to an array of hands though, like all the overpairs, ace jack, suited, etc. I check and I'm happy to see my opponent check back. At this point, similar to last hand, I expect pros to bet aces, kings, queens, etc. with a very high frequency on this flop. So this check is likely showdown value type of hand like ace, king, tens, etc. Turn is the 3 of spades, brick, but it gives us less outs versus the pair, also bringing a backdoor flush draw. I check again, and this time opponent fires a very small bet of $60. The price is good. We do still beat some thin value hands like pocket tens, etc. I mean, I don't care. I'm a donk. I flop top pair. I'm not folding to one small bet. I make the call. Let's take a river. River is another brick, the 6 of hearts. I check again, and this time my opponent fires out a huge bet of $210. Oh boy. Although this bet is very big, what is he representing? Jacks, nines, ace 3 suited, and pocket sixes, I guess. It's a very, very narrow range. Aces, kings, queens should bet the flop or bet bigger on the turn. We block jacks, JJ Barea, and pocket nines should also bet the flop 100% of the time, assuming he's competent pro. Also, do sixes even 3-bet me pre-flop? I mean, against a recreational player, I'm snap folding the river, but he is a very, very good and capable player. So after a little bit of thought, you know what, I'm a donk, I am a station, I don't care, I just don't bluff the donk fish, and I flick in the call. And my opponent shows ace king of hearts, we win. We've got to give him credit though for making this move. Not many people can do this, so my call is actually a respectful call. This is why I generally avoid the pros. They generally don't pay you off and they put you into tough spots. So why waste your time and energy on the pros? I would have asked for a table change long time ago, if not for there's only one table. Anyways, moving on. We then pick up our third ace-ace offsuit for the block and take down the pot with a 3-bet. We then lose 2 small to medium multi-way pots with tens and ace-queen. That's when we pick up my second favorite hand and our second king-king offsuit in the block on the button. This undergun strata to $6, +1 limps, I make it $30 to go on the button. Only the +1 player calls. The +1 player is a very, very loose and action player who just sat down on the table. Flop comes Jack 8-4 rainbow. Checks to me, I'm c-betting range small in these spots. I bet 30 and he makes the call. Turn comes in offsuit 6, completing the rainbow. When he checks to me, I was about to make a big bet. That's until I remember saying, my favorite line in live low stakes poker is to bet small in position on the flop, check back the turn with showdown value, and bluff catch a small bet on the river. This is because the typical 1-3 player will quarter wide versus a small bet on the flop, and thus arriving on the river with an extremely weak range and be forced to bluff. This opponent is very loose and with the hesitant call on the flop. His flop calling range is very wide, so I decided to try this line with kings. Looking back retrospectively, this is a mistake as kings is a thick value hand, not a showdown value hand. The 6 on the turn also making the board a bit more connected. There are many hands in my opponent's range that will pick up some kind of straight draw, gut shots, pair plus straight draws, etc. So checking back kings is definitely missing out a ton of value. Anyways, I check and let's take a river. River is the 10 of spades. When my opponent checks again to me, his range looks like some type of non-top pair showdown value hand like 10-9, 6-7, 8-7, etc. So how much will I bet to fold out an 8? Probably like 75 versus this opponent, so I made 50 targeting one pair type of hand. So I bet 50, and to my total surprise, he min check raises me to 105. Oh boy, this is just a min raise, but it's a river check raise nevertheless. I mean, what the heck, he is an action player and is probably capable of doing goofy things. I mean, I don't know, I'm a donk, I'm getting such a good price. So I make a donk call again, and he shows 9-7 of hearts for a river straight. Oh boy. Well, my flop read was right. But I should have bet the turn for value and should have folded the river to a check raise. Sad, sad, sad face. Next end, we're in the hijack with 10-10 offsuit. There's a button straddle to 6. A pro makes it 25 to go in the small blind. I just flat the 25. Button comes along. Button is the action player who owned us in the king's hand. Flop comes Jack 9-5 with 2 clubs. Action goes Czech Republic. Turn is the beautiful hand of diamonds. Small blind leads out for 30. I just make the call. Button raises to 110. Small blind calls. Button is probably not bluffing here, and he has all the straights in the world. I don't think he has too many 2 pairs like Jack 10 or 9-10 as we double block that. And I would imagine Jack 9 would almost always bet the flop when it comes to him. So he's wrapping straight only. We are getting a good price. We are very deep. We call, praying the board to pair and take our revenge and maybe do some collateral damage to the small blind as well. Haha. But which the river does not pair the board. Instead, it brings the 7 of spades, a horrible card bringing 4 cards to a straight. Action checks to the button who bets 3-10. The small blind tank calls. We are done with this hand. We fold the sad face, and button shows, of course, king queen offsuit for the nutter butters. This button player is owning us hard today with gut shots today. Nice hand, sir. I think we lost the minimum here. Nice hand again, sir. Next, our stack dwindle down to around 750, 700, and we win and lose some small and medium parts with some medium strength playable hands like king queen off, Jack 10 suited, Queen 10 suited, etc. Which brings us to our next hand, which is also the hand of the night. We pick up pocket nines in the hijack. There's a button straddle to 6, under gun and low jack limps. I make it 30 to go. Button and low jack calls. Just some context, Button is the action player who owned us twice in the kings and the tens hand. And we are seeking some revenge, obviously. Low jack is a player who has lost a few big pots and is steaming and bluffing a lot. So, that being said, we are 3 ways to a flop. Flop comes the beautiful 953 2 spades. We flop the stone cold nuts. Checks to me, I check as I think the action player on the button is overstabbing the flop, but the button owns us again by checking back. Sad face, 3 ways to a turn. 8 of clubs on the turn. Low jack leads out for a bet of 55. I call, bottom folds. I could have obviously raised here, but with the action player behind and low jack steaming, I just decided to flat call in the heat of the moment. Let's take a river. River is favorable. It's the 9 of clubs, the last 9 in the deck. Yes, we river quads, the stone cold nuts. So we had the nuts on the flop and we river the nuts. What a feeling. What's better is that the low jack bets out $80. Obviously, we would prefer him to bet out a little bit more. So what's his range? We know he doesn't have a 9, so he could be betting an 8x for thin value, or straight, smaller full houses, or a bluff. In the heat of the moment, because he was steaming for the last few hands, I thought his range is most likely a bluff, like a miss, flush, or straight draw. Well, if we breathe on the pot, those hands are going to fold. So making a small raise here doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I just decided to jam for $646, my whole stack total. We don't care about folding out his bluffs or one pair type of hands. We just want to target top of his range and stack straights and other full houses. That will be extremely inelastic to any bet. After I jam, opponent goes deep into the tank, which confuses me. To me, this is a snap call or a snap fold. He should be snap calling with full houses and straights and snap folding his bluffs and one pair type of hands. I shouldn't have any full houses in his mind as I check the flop and just call the turn bet on a pretty wet and dynamic board. A set on the flop or turn should have bet or raised at some point. Anyways, I'm sitting here praying for a call, and after some tanking, opponent finally decides to call. We fast roll and we are going to win this humongous pot. Opponent flipped 6-7 offsuit a few moments later, so he actually had a value hand. Oh, kudos to him for tanking with a straight there. Unlucky man, nice hand. Next hand, everyone limps. I complete in the small blind with 6-7 offsuit. A little bit loose, but whatever. Big blind checks. Flop comes unbelievable. It's 4-5-8 rainbow. So we flop the stone cold nuts. Action goes Czech Republic. Turn is the Jack of Diamonds, completing the rainbow board. We still have the stone cold nuts. I bet out $15. Button calls. So what's his range? Checking back the flop and just call the turn. I would say one pair type of hand, like a jack or an 8. River is the king of diamonds. Somehow we still have the stone cold nuts. However, he shouldn't have any kings in his range unless he has a hand like king 5 suited or king 8 suited, as king jack is probably raising pre-flop. So his range is quite weak, and I asked myself how much would I bet for an 8 to fold. The answer is probably not a lot, so I just bet $20, just targeting his one pair type of hands to call. Although we have the nuts, but I don't think this is a spot just to go massive, as his range is quite weak. Anyways, I bet $20, expecting to be looked up quite often. But my opponent does not look me up, and does not fold either. Instead, he put two $25 green chips into the pot. That, my friend, is not a fold, it's not a call. It is a raise. What a dream spot. Now we have to decide how much to re-raise. To determine this, we have to ask what's his range. If he has a trap 6-7, we don't care about that. I don't think he has a set, as we would probably have heard it from it in earlier streets. This isn't a massive raise, so he could have two pairs like king 8 suited, king 5 suited, etc. So I asked myself, how much would I bet for King 8 or King 5 to fold? He has about 800 behind, so I would say probably egregiously large, like 400. So I just raised to an amount that's slightly less than 400. I made it 320, and opponent goes deep into the tank. After like 2 minutes of tanking, he finally decides on a fold. He folds King Jack offsuit face up, so he had top 2 pairs. He folded top 2 pairs. Wow, very, very nice fold, sir. Big pot alert. We're now playing short-handed with 5 players. We agreed to play a $25 bomb pot where everyone puts $25 pre-flop and we go straight to the flop. Flop comes Queen Jack Jack. We on the button and we have King Jack of spades. This is a dream spot with flop trips in a bomb pot in position. Action checks to me in multi-way parts. My general memo is to check a lot or bet really small. This time we decide to check for deception as there aren't many river cards we are afraid of. We block King 10, the straight draw, and we can stack 9-10 if he hits a king. Turns the beautiful 6 of spades. We turn a king high flush draw to go along with our trip second kicker. I can't say it's a brick because anyone can have any 2 cards, so all combos of Jack 6 suited offsuit are still present. Action checks to me, it's time to put some money into the pot. I bet $45, small blind cost 45. Big blind, the action player check raises to 210. Alarm bells are ringing already. This is a limp pot. We are behind to Jack 6, Queen Jack, Ace Jack, and pocket 6s. But since I check back the flop, my hand is so underwrapped. We could still beat some smaller jacks with a king high flush draw as a backup to beat Ace Jack. I don't think there's anything I can do here except call. I call, small blind folds, and we take a river heads up with the action player. River is the deuce of clubs. We brick our flush draw. Again, we can't say it's a brick because all jack deuce suited and offsuit combos are possible. Big blind bets $200. This is a very small bet. I thought about raising, but I've seen him go small with the nuts many times, either as a bet or a small check raise. Ultimately, I took the safe route and just decided to call. He announces a jack and I immediately knew I should have made a thin value raise. I just fast roll as I always do and we are good. We've now run up our stack to around 2500 from 500. What a dream night. We have 1 hour left before the casino closes and we are now playing 4-handed. And here is where everything goes completely off the rail. The action player just lost a huge pot to the pro player and is steaming. And this is where we go from playing 1-3 to playing 1-3-50. The action player announces that we are now playing 1-3-50 and he's making $50 raise blind every hand. All the strategy goes off the book, all poker theories are now useless. It's all down to how many good hands you can get in a short span of time and hold with them. Obviously, this is a dream spot for me, but I have to ask myself, am I ready to take on the variance? He has me covered so I could lose all my profit in one hand if we are unlucky. I know this mindset will kill my EV, but I'm kinda in lockup mode for the night and for the vlog series. I admit I was playing with a bit of a scared money. I should have just left at this point. But I kept telling myself, if I want to take poker seriously, I have to be able to deal with these kind of situations. So I decided to stay and play free-handed 1-3-50 and taking on the variance. But my actual actions disobey my mindset. Well, let's dive right into this hand. We pick up ace king off in a small blind. Action player under the gun makes it $50. I call the $50. I know, in a small blind instead of free betting him. Ace king is massively ahead of his range, but he is willing to go nuts with any two cards. Ace king has about 60-70% equity against any two cards. Am I willing to take a 65% spot, but also taking on huge variances and swings? In the heat of the moment, I said no, I'll just call the 50 and play post flop out of position with ace king off. This is exactly what happens when you are playing with scared money, with improper bankroll management. To be able to comfortably play in this particular game, I need to have at least 100 buy-ins for this current setup, which is 2,000 times 100, which is 200k. Obviously, I don't have this kind of money, so I shouldn't be playing this game. Anyways, I call. Big blind also comes along. We see a flop. Flop is king 9-6 rainbow. At this point, as we were playing four-handed, 1-3-50 with crazy action. I didn't really have time to take notes as I was busy occupied playing hands, watching hands, so I forgot the suit of the flop, but it was rainbow. Action checks to the action player, he bets 50, I call, big blind also calls, let's take the turn 3 ways. Turn's an 8, check. Action player bets 125, I call again and big blind folds. We take a river heads up. River's a 3, there are no flushes or anything. I check, he bets just $100 for this tiny price. I'm happy to call. So I call, under the gun shows king 3 offsuit and wins with a river 2 pairs. Oh boy, he's clearly owning us big time today. Nice hand, sir. We're still playing four-handed 1-3-50 and we upgrade to ace king suited this time. Action player on the button who straddles to $6. I am in the big blind with ace king suited and we just limp. Because we know the action player is going to make it 50 and I'm ready to go nuts with ace king suited against the action player. However, this is not what happens. Cutoff, who is also under the gun, a pro, raises to $30. Button calls. This is a mandatory 3-bet, so I 3-bet to 230. This is a massive size, as all players are at least 2,500 deep. Cutoff, however, 4-bets me to $585. Oh, what is going on here? Button folds, and oh my lord, I am in a tough spot. Cutoff is a pro, so he knows my range is quite nutted. Also, more importantly, I think Cutoff is good enough to know that he can have much better spots in this game. So I can't imagine him 4-betting me in this spot without the nuts. I also want to get involved with the action player as there will be so many better spots. All things considered, I made a very tight fold and maybe looked like a donkey. Now playing free-handed 1-3-50 and I now have lost track of my stack. I had been folding to the $50 raise for 2, 3, 4 orbits, I can't remember. Until we pick up king queen offsuit in the small blind. Button raises to $50 blind. I just call like a donk. Big blind folds. Flop comes queen 7-5. I don't remember suits again. Playing free-handed, I barely have time to take notes. He bets 50 on the flop, I call. Turns a 10. He bets 50, I call. River's an 8. He bets 100, I call, and I lose to 7-8 offsuit. Oh my god. He owns us again and again on the river today. Oh my god, he owns ours so. Nice hands, sir. A few hands later, I had enough. I'm in a spot blind again with ace king off. There's a $50 blind raise on the button as usual. I 3-bet massive to $350 equals. Flop is 6-8-6. We check it down and I lose to 8-9 offsuit. Oh boy. I can't win against him today. We desperately need some revenge. I was just about to give up for the night and finally, finally, with just a few minutes till the casino closes, we welcome the sight of my favorite hand, ace offsuit on the button. Oh my god, what a time to pick up aces. We desperately need some revenge and those circle-shaped clays. I limp for $3. I'm limping my entire range at this point. Small blind folds, action play in the big blind makes it $50 to go. 1,350, right? I made it $450 to go and he snap calls. Flop is 554, he checks. From all the hands he owned me tonight, it wouldn't be a surprise that he owns me here with a hand like 5-6 off. So in the heat of the moment, I just decided to check it back. Turns a 3 and it goes check again. Yes, I'm a donk. I'm so scared of this player at this point. River's another 4 and I check again like a little girl. Yes, I don't want to face a dreaded check raise. But he announces ace queen and we win finally. One for the good guys. Oh my god, that felt so good after losing to him. Hand after hand after hand, the river 2 pairs, the dreaded gut shots. That one felt really good. Ace offsuit, my favorite hand. Kiss. Mwah. Anyways, a few hands later, the casino closes. Time is up for us and the game broke. What a roller coaster power hour. I had no time to take notes. I had long lost track of my stack. All I know is sometimes my $100 chip stack are like the Pinocchio's nose when he says I'm a good poker player, and sometimes my $100 stack are like Pinocchio's nose when he says Phil Ivey is a good poker player. This is by far the craziest session I've ever played, thanks to the action player. You, sir, owned us for the most part tonight, but it was a very fun night playing with you. Nice hand, sir. We finally calmed down from the heat of the action and was able to count our stack. We played for 5.5 hours, 14 for $500, and we cashed out for $21.42, a solid profit of $16.42. My total results so far are posted here. When I'm editing the vlog, I still feel it, the pain, the hot pump, and all the river 2 pairs and straights. But it was a fun night. This is poker, this is what I love, and this is what I embrace. Again, thank you for watching. If you like my content, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.